Right, Charlie. Another great afternoon hours on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube, your best place in terms of football tactical analysis. Makacho say, oh, investors, when you want to make some good money there, then this is the best place for you. It doesn't get any better than here. Yesterday, the big quotes did boom. And then we have some of them that are also going through. So that's what we do consistently. So, Debbie Amekacho say, don't let anybody come and tell you that they are fixed odds to your Scanabra Beje. It doesn't happen like that anywhere. There's nothing like that. Don't let anybody swindle you and take your hard-earned money. If you want to invest, some of us do good research, look through the games, do the analysis, and give you the best picks for you to go and stick. Every day when you come here, look at the description of the video. Give yourself a big chance of winning something here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. But before that, you get the best in terms of analysis, like everything that we do. Enzo Maresca, in the last 3 games, I've gotten just 2 points. 2 points. That is sackable. It's a sackable of things. But again, there is a reason why in football, contest is probably the most important thing when you are discussing the game. There is a reason why that may not be the case at Chelsea Football Club. And that is huge. Again, in the contest of the English Premier League and how it wants to go, that is very bad performance, especially off the back of the forms that both Leeds United and Bournemouth had at their home grounds. It made it very difficult. This is a game where Enzo Maresca made some changes to bring them in. But it looks as if some of the problems that Chelsea are having is causing their sporting directors to re-strategize and probably go into the market and bring in some other players that can come and deliver. We'll talk about all of that here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. But just before that, earlier on, there was Arsenal Football Club that dropped points to Aston Villa. I said this in the morning. I was clear. I was emphatic. And I said that, see, it is going to be difficult for Arsenal to go away to the Villa Park and get a result against Unai Emery's Villa. It's an emotionally huge game. Unai Emery is tactically as good as him. Set pieces may become an important part of the game decision. And of course, that's exactly what happened. And Amy Buendia goal in the dying members of the game gave the game to Mikel Arteta. Again, I Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Turn on notification. In the notification turn and do choose all. Make sure say anytime that content drops, say you are first to have it. And I say again, let me say my big thank yous. One, to Yesumo Spare Parts Dealership Shop. I've said it. In this country, when it comes to car spare parts, the best place for you to go to is Yesumo Spare Parts Dealership Shop. They take care of everything for you. They sort you out. They make sure that everything is sorted. They give you the best quality in terms of car spare parts. Everything that you need, they take care of it at Yesumo. They are in Accra, Abose Okai in Accra. Call them on 059-313-8221. 059-313-8221. Go and look for them. Yesumo Spare Parts Dealership Shop will take very, very good care of you. Every kind of car. Honda, Civic, Accord, Acura, Benz, anything that you are using, Yesumo will take care of you. Of course, on the other side is MOB Clothing. MOB is the best place in terms of clothes, accessories, apparels, everything that you need. Go to MOB Clothing today. Contact them on 0200-668-708. 0200-668-708. MOB Clothing will take very, very good care of you in terms of your clothes they are looking for. Where do we start from? Chelsea Football Club, Arsenal Football Club, and English Premier League. See, the English Premier League was always not going to be straightforward. It was not going to be straightforward for anybody. It wasn't going to be straightforward for Liverpool. Wasn't going to be straightforward for Arsenal. Neither was it going to be straightforward for even teams like Chelsea Football Club. But days like this actually adds to why the English Premier League is such a difficult game, difficult league to play. I mean, Aston Villa did not start the season well. A couple of games, 4 games they are not won. They had to crawl it back. They managed to get some successes in the games that they went on to go and play. And then later on in recent times, they are managing to get the results. They are managing to get the results in games that they are playing. They are getting the results. They are playing well. They have been difficult to beat. In fact, in the last 8 games, they had been the most informed team in the English Premier League. So obviously, I was going to be it's time for it has been a time where the English Aston Villa boys have been playing well. Then Arsenal came home. I remember I said this morning, I told Richard Smith-Donker, said it is going to be a difficult game for Arsenal to play against their friend Aston Villa for a lot of reasons. One, for the reason of psyche. the fact that going away to Aston Villa has always proven to be difficult. Arsenal would have to beat the mental side of the game before they can even think of the tactical or physical or whatever in terms of the game. Of course, that wasn't successful for Tima, your friend Arsenal Football Club. They went into the game and then now the results have not been good over there for Team my friend Arsenal Football Club, and they managed to draw points out. Whilst Man City have gotten the win, Tottenham Hotspur have gotten their win, Newcastle at home have gotten a good win against Team your friend Burnley. But the big conversation is about Chelsea's inconsistent blues. And I remember in the last couple of days and months when Chelsea were in a very, very good run of form, I went onto my Twitter and I put it out, say, whether you're a Chelsea fan, one of the things that you should do is to enjoy the games that Chelsea are playing, especially Chelsea are winning. You have to enjoy it. I don't think that you have to stress yourself. You have to worry yourself in terms of, we are waiting to win the league. That is a non-starter in terms of what Chelsea wanted to do. It's important to go into the games and then enjoy the games that they were going, how Chelsea were going to play. But this is one against Bournemouth. And last season, Chelsea game on the Bournemouth boy, they only won by a goal to 0. Selbe Kaya, it was a game where Argentine friend Christopher Nkunku, in the dying embers of the game, managed to get that all-important win. I think that this was probably going to be a game where Enzo Maresca would have told his boys, they need to deliver. To be able to get back to the top, they need to deliver. They need to be able to play well. And they need to start playing the kind of football that they want to go in and play. It was obviously not going to be easy when it comes to how Chelsea were playing their game, how they were going to get themselves into it, because Andoni Areola is also a very stubborn manager. And you see, this Bournemouth game is the reason why I expected Enzo Maresca to approach the Leeds game with all the seriousness. I felt like one of the games that Chelsea could have afforded to rest players would have been the Atalanta game. I think that Enzo Maresca probably should have rested players during Atalanta. Play with your strong foot against Leeds United. Go and get a win. Even if you had gotten a draw against Bournemouth, you go into the Atalanta game knowing that you can go and manage that game away at Italy. But in 2 games, Chelsea have just 1 point. In 3 games, Chelsea has just 2 points. And that is not good enough. It's not good enough to be in the conversation of title contenders. And I've said it several times. I do not think that Chelsea are anywhere close to title contenders. I don't think that comes in the second year of Maresca. I don't even think that comes close to it. I don't think that comes easily in the 3rd year. I think that in the 3rd year, Chelsea really have to contend. They have to be contenders. As to whether they win the league, that's a different conversation. But that's exactly how the game did went. Chelsea went away to Bournemouth to go and play against Bournemouth. And if you look at this season, Chelsea drew 0-0 against Bournemouth, lost 3-1 to Leeds United, lost 2-1 to Sunderland, lost 2-1 to Manchester United, lost 3-1 to Brighton, drew 2-2 to Brentford, and of course, played 0-0 against Crystal Palace over there. And for me, I think that in the first half, Bournemouth were practically the better side. They dictated the pace of the game better. They had loads of possession. They played into the channel zone. And it looks as if Bournemouth, when the game plan was to go long and win the second balls. It looks as if that was the plan for team my friend Bournemouth, to go longs and then make sure could be the second balls. But then obviously that wasn't going to be it. That wasn't going to be how Chelsea were going to get banned. Anytime that you look at the Chelsea team, how they wanted to play, it was obviously not how Chelsea wanted to go in and play the game. Of course, that did affect them. I think that essentially, so the starting lineup, Enzo Maresca, Eddie game, it was an interesting one. Enzo Maresca went into that game without a proper number 6. So it means that he also did not trust your friend Andre Santos to be the lone 6. He didn't trust Andre Santos to be the lone 6 at all. And again, it means that Abrante friend Andre Santos now had to start from the bench. Now started Abrante friend Reece James as the 6. So Reece James rather played centrally as a 6 in that single 6 role. And you could tell the whole time that Reece James needed some help in terms of off the ball, winning of the duels. In fact, there were 2 players in the half spaces making it very, very difficult for Reece James to deal with the ranks of the Bournemouth players. I think that was something that was very, very interesting. In fact, in the first half, I thought it was a very, very lackluster performance from Argentine and Enzo Maresca and Argentine. I, particularly in the first half, I wasn't excited. I was not excited at all by how Chelsea were playing. Bournemouth were better. Bournemouth controlled the game better. And they were missing a lot of chances. And that midfield of James and Enzo Fernandez was getting overrun. And that is why in the second half, Enzo Maresca constantly invited Malo Gusto to come in, to come and help in terms of the defending of central areas. If you look at it, it was Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah, Kukurea, James, Enzo, Neto, Palmer, Garnacho, and then Liam Delap. So, there was almost everybody in the game. Joao Pedro was there, Cole Palmer was there, Garnacho was there, Liam Delap was there. And of course, it was a game where we expected Chelsea to go into it and probably to go and see the game out. But obviously, it wasn't going to be as easy as anybody expected it to be. And it was always going to be a quite a tough game over there. And if you look at the game, Chelsea have not scored for the very first time in all competitions since the opening day of the season. And for the very first time, that's when Chelsea have not scored in any competition at all. They struggled to get a goal in there. Chelsea added several decorative pieces of furniture to their squad, but ignored the main foundations of penalty box presence at centre back and striker. And for that, they will suffer in achieving their targets. And that's what people are saying there. And I think I've said this thing several times. The fact that Chelsea did not come into the season with a dominant centre back, that is a penalty box dominant player, and also a penalty box dominant striker, that makes a lot of difference. It's something that most of the teams have. If you look at Arsenal for one, they don't probably have it in their normal striker, but they have it in Mikel Merino. That penalty box presence, that makes all the difference. Now, I don't know how ball long out immediately tip him and make all the difference all game. And Chelsea don't seem to be able to have that. And it goes inside of Chelsea. Cole Palmer is definitely Chelsea's best player, but Moises Caicedo also looked like he was missed. I particularly did not feel like this was a game where Cole Palmer should have started. I think that, again, Cole Palmer should have come off the bench. He would have been very important coming off the bench, not starting the game. By again, my Brighton friend Cole Palmer started, and of course, in the first half, it wasn't a good one. Chelsea have found the net in each of the past 20 matches in all competitions. Anytime that there is a game, Chelsea managed to get a goal over there. And when Cole Palmer came on, he tried with a few things, but you could tell that Cole Palmer was rusty. You could tell that he wasn't 100% fit. Enzo Maresca says Cole Palmer was ready to start, but you could tell that Cole Palmer was a little bit rusty in the context of the game, and how he was going to come into it. It wasn't going to be like that when he gets into the game in terms of what Chelsea wanted to do, how they wanted to play into their game. And at the end of the day, Chelsea needed to do better. They needed to create more chances. They needed to play out from the back better. They needed to create some of the best chances on and off the ball. And of course, it's very important in that regard. But of course, that did not happen. And when people ask the question, the entire Enzo Maresca doesn't play Enzo Fernandez as a number 6, a lone sixer. Today was clear-cut example. As a lone 6, or without Caicedo, or without a proper defensive cover, especially in the Premier League, it's difficult. You will not be able to get the best out of Enzo Fernandez. You will probably be subjecting him to some very, very bad performances. And that has been a thing. I think that when the summer ends, or Chelsea gets into the summer, it's important to go into the markets for two things. About 2 or 3 box dominant centre backs. It's so important. Commanding centre backs that can command the Chelsea box like Wesley Fofana does. We need like 2 or 3 more. And then again, one centre forward that commands the box. Whether it's going to be Emmanuel Omega, whether it's going to be another Joaquim Panikeli. These guys have to come in to compete and then push themselves to the very top, because that is very, very important in terms of how Chelsea wants to play. And in the modern game, the English Premier League, that's exactly what you need to be able to be successful. If you don't have that, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to be successful in our Premier League, because teams are going to go long. And then without a branch friend of Wesley Fofana, that would have been such a shambolic performance from Chelsea, because I don't know, we need duels, aerial ones, your ball long, not need to happen, your ball second balls, not need to happen. and prevented things from going on. About 99% of Estevao, Palmer, and James, except Enzo Maresca, he prefers backwards and sideways passes. I mean, these are again the people that do not understand the situation at Chelsea and keep on making mistakes. I think that's more from the sporting director point of view. I mean, again, Chelsea going to the markets without the players that they want to play. After the game, Bournemouth for manager friend Andoni Areola, I see he was pleased with the performance. We played a really solid game. You have to value the points. We were playing a very good team. They can also score. 1 point is not a lot, but we value it, according to Abrante Freno, Andoni Areola. Say for him, he likes the fact that Chelsea, they were able to get the 1 point against Chelsea. Omonim said, AB and Comunia 3 points now, they would have been much more excited. But managing the 1 point is also very important for them. And then they will take it. They will take the 1 point and then look to do better in the end. If you go across all of the football apps now, they've given Abrante a friend of Robert Sanchez also 8/10 in terms of the rates in our tournament. It tells you how much of a good performance Abrante your friend Robert Sanchez in our tournament. He was solid, and it is a very, very good display for Abrante friend Robert Sanchez. He was solid, played well in almost every aspect of the game. It was very, very important in terms of how he wanted to play that game in our tournament. You will give credit to Abrante, your friend Abrante. When you look at the game that Chelsea played, you give credit to how Robert Sanchez was able to man the post and did a job done at Hornum. We'll see how things are going to go on at Hornum, and we'll see if Chelsea are able to get a job done when it comes to the subsequent games now. Of course, we'll see how things are going to go on from there. In the next game, Chelsea will be against Atalanta away from home. Very, very huge game when Chelsea play against Atalanta. And it's going to be very, very important. We'll see how things are going to go on from there when it comes to some matches. Not Atalanta, Chelsea going to the Champions League off the back of the games that have gone on where Chelsea have not been successful. It's a game where Chelsea have to make sure they go away from home and then go and get the results. They have to make sure they go into that game, and then get the results as they are looking for. They have to go and win some match, win against Atalanta and put them in pole position to be able to deliver when it comes to the games that are going on over there. And I mean, I said it several times. Usually, when you look at games like this, they've always been a Chelsea nightmare. In December, there are always games like this that worry Chelsea. And again, that is why Chelsea would have to turn it around again. I mean, I said that dominated Barca and Arsenal, dominated by Leeds and Bournemouth 1 week later. And in December, Chelsea obviously dropping points as they do. And for me, this is where sometimes I think that the issue was the inconsistency. But again, it's the mark of a young team. It's a mark of a team that will take some time to be able to get to the very top in terms of being better at the games that they want to play, which is very important. Of course, after the game, Enzo Maresca in match of the day, also I think we tried to win the game. We had some chances. I said many times, it's important not to lose when you don't win. But we missed a bit of quality in the last third. But we need to go again on Tuesday. Again, on Tuesday, Chelsea playing a very important game against Atalanta. And he knows that he wants to focus on this. And I think that's what he has to do. I mean, what would you do? The 3 points against Leeds United is gone. You have to focus on the 1 point that I've gotten today and then try to build on it when it comes to the subsequent games that Chelsea have led to play. There's a lot more to play. Chelsea will have to play on Tuesday. In fact, after Tuesday, there's also English Premier League games that's going to go on. I think over the weekend, there's an important game that Chelsea has to play before the League Cup match now. Chelsea has to go on and then go and play against Team Friend Cardiff. And today was 0-0. If we look at after today, of course, the Tuesday game is the game that Chelsea are going to play in the Champions League against Team Friend Atalanta. After Atalanta, they go at home and play against Everton. David Moyes is going to make it difficult. It's going to be Kenyan Drisby Hall back at the bridge. There's going to be Jack Grealish back at the bridge. It's going to be a tough one. It's really, really not going to be easy at all for Chelsea Football Club when they go and play in such a very competitive game against Everton. After that, then of course, 4 days later, there's a Newcastle game away from home. Then 4 games later, that's on the 20th. And then of course, In 27th, Chelsea play against Aston Villa. And of course, they come and play Bournemouth on the last game of the year, and then play Man City in the first game of the year. That's going to be very, very interesting. Bournemouth, and then of course Manchester City is going to be a really, really interesting match over there for Chelsea Football Club when they go in and go and play such matches. Now, Enzo Maresca knows that he needs to start managing matches. Of course, in other games, Manchester City stayed at home and did a job against Team Sunderland. Regis Lebrin and Ranty, and most of the times they've gone to the big boys and they've managed to get something out of games. But then it wasn't going to be Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. They went away from home to the Etihad, and of course Pep Guardiola and the Man City got the job done. They were brilliant. They were spot on. They were top in terms of delivering on the night for Manchester City. Of course, I want to look at the English Premier League table. Top 4 as it stands now after Aston Villa and Manchester City conversation. What it means is that over there, Arsenal have dropped points, and it has given a chance for Manchester City to get straight back into it. And there is Emi Buendia that got that goal, and Manchester City that also managed to push aside Team Sunderland. So I mean, it tells you how interesting the season is going to be. Newcastle also managed to get an important win. They had not been winning for a very long time in recent times, and they managed to get a win, won by 2-1. Man City 3-0. And Tottenham Hotspur also, the battle between Thomas Frank and Keith Andrews. No, Thomas Frank won it by 2-0. And of course, Everton also won the game by 3-0. Chelsea ended up drawing 0-0 and it sets the tone. Later in the game, there's going to be that big one between Team and Liverpool away at Leeds United. I expect that game comes with at least 2 goals and either of the teams to win. At least 2 goals and either of the team to win. That is what I'm expecting. Say, is going to come out for that game. When Team and Liverpool go on to go and play in there to see how things are going to go on from there. It's now 3 games just before I'm starting this analysis. Barca were preparing for their game also. And after the game, Maresca said on Cole Palmer, he was good. After a long time, he played for some minutes, and now he needs to build a physical condition in terms of staying fit to play consistently for Chelsea. He says, I think we controlled the game, and then in the last bit, we missed the shot, the pass, and the cross. That can just happen. For us, it's another clean sheet, and we didn't lose. So that is important, of course. I like the fact that Enzo Maresca is putting the positive side on Robert Sanchez instead of just saying that his team wasn't good enough. Guys, in terms of the English Premier League, we'll draw the curtain here. Our Italian Serie A, obviously, there are going to be some games by English Premier League just before the Liverpool match. This is exactly what it looks like. Of course, after the Barcelona game, I will be back here with some more analysis for you. We'll get into it. Bayern won their game by 5 goals. 5-0. Went away to Stuttgart and got a job done. Osberg beat Leverkusen by 2-0. That's an interesting one. Union Berlin lost to Wolfsburg by 3-0. Leipzig in the first few minutes is up by 1-0. Of course, Sassuolo beat Fiorentina by 3-0. Inter is up against Como by 1-0 also as all over there. So we'll see how things are going to go on from there. Villarreal has won its game against Getafe by 1-0. Barcelona already up by 1-0. Betis has scored Barcelona by 1-0. Guys, I'll see you later in the day. Until then, do take care. Bye-bye.